तो कैसे हैं आप लोग। वेलकम टू माय चैनल डीबी गेमिंग। तो आज हम कुछ नया करने जा रहे हैं यहाँ पे। आज मैंने एक गेम डाउनलोड किया, इसका नाम है स्टैनली पैरेबल। तो स्टैनली जो इस गेम का जो मेन करेक्टर है, वो एक ऑफिस में काम करता है और ऑफिस में फंस जाता है। जितना मुझे आइडिया है, जितना मैंने ट्रेलर को देखा है, जितना मैंने समझा है, पढ़ा है स्टोरी की समरी, तो यही है कि स्टैनली ऑफिस में फंसे रहते हैं। कोई अपडेट आती है, कोई अनाउंसमेंट होती है और वो मिस कर देते हैं, और वो बाद में थोड़े टाइम बाद रियलाइज़ करते हैं कि वो ऑफिस में अकेले हैं। सो असल में ये गेम 2011 में रिलीज़ हुई थी, और 2011 के बाद इसके अंदर काफ़ी सारे अपडेट्स आ गए हैं। ग्राफिक्स अपडेट कर दिए गए हैं, स्टोरी राइटिंग हुई है, दोबारा से लिखी गई है स्टोरी। और जो खास बात है इस गेम की वो ये है कि गेम वैसे ही मोड़ लेगी जैसे आप फैसले लेंगे। तो अगर लेफ्ट डोर है, आपने लेफ्ट डोर लिया तो स्टोरी उस हिसाब से चलेगी, और राइट डोर है तो राइट डोर के हिसाब से स्टोरी चलेगी। तो ये सरप्राइजिंग फैक्टर है कि जिसने ये गेम लिखी है, जो कंटेंट राइटर है, स्टोरी राइटर है इस गेम का, हम उसकी जो मैसेज है उसका मैसेज भी हम कॉन्ट्राडिक्ट कर सकते हैं। शायद वो मैसेज हमें मिले भी ना, बिकॉज हमने डिसीजंस ऐसे लिए थे, राइट। तो काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा है कॉन्सेप्ट, एंड आई कांट वेट टू प्ले। तो आई विल ट्राई माई बेस्ट टू एंटरटेन यू गाइज। और अगर आपको सच में अच्छा लगा, आपको सच में मेरी वीडियो अच्छी लगी, तो प्लीज़ गिव इट बिग थम्स अप और सब्सक्राइब कीजिएगा। एंड प्लीज़ लेट मी नो इन द कमेंट्स दैट इफ़ यू वांट मी टू मेक द नेक्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ इट। तो वैसे ही मैं स्टोरी को एक्सप्लेन करने की कोशिश करूँगा, और धीरे धीरे हम स्टैनली का नाम चेंज करके कुछ अच्छा सा नाम भी रख देंगे, राइट। सो लेट्स बिगिन। डीबी गेमिंग में आपका स्वागत है वंस अगेन। थैंक यू सो मच।
A few moments later.
चलो यार शुरू करते हैं। ओके, इंग्लिश। ओके, कंफर्म। नहीं खेली है हमने। अरे यार, अभी टाइम क्या हुआ? अभी तो एग्जैक्ट 1 बज रहे हैं, 1 AM ही बज रहे हैं। कंफर्म। ओके। यार ये मुझे स्टोरी डरावनी की लग रही है। सेटिंग्स, फील्ड ऑफ व्यू कर देते हैं 85। सबटाइटल्स, कैमरा सेंसिटिविटी 8। यस। ओके, लेट्स गो, बिगिन द गेम।
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
एम्प्लॉय का नाम इन्होंने 427 रखा हुआ।
He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day.
सरकारी नौकरी कर रहा है अगला यार,
And although
अच्छी बात है।
others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
सरकारी नौकरी से कौन नहीं खुश
And
यार।
then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley.
तो यहाँ से
Something
शुरू
he
हो
would
रही है
never
कहानी।
quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly
तो
wrong.
कोई ऑर्डर नहीं आया ना, इसको कोई बताने आया कि क्या गलत हो रहा है या
Stanley
कुछ
found
हुआ है,
himself
राइट।
unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
अच्छा जी, तो फाइनली भाई को होश आया, स्टैनली साहब को। अब ये उठने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। अच्छा अच्छा, खड़ा हुआ ऑलरेडी। बकचोद हो यार। ठीक है, ओके। ऑफिस से निकलो बाहर। यार शक्ल तो दिखाओ आदमी की। ठीक है
All
ठीक
of
है।
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
मीटिंग रूम जाना है, मेमो मिस हो गया। ठीक है, कोई अनाउंसमेंट हुई होगी, मिस हो गई होगी। कहाँ है मीटिंग रूम? सारा कुछ तो सेम लग रहा है भाई। भगचोदी 420 ये लग रहा है मीटिंग रूम यार। अंदर कैसे आना है? यहाँ से।
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
तो उन्होंने हमें बताया कि वो लेफ्ट डोर में गया। अगर आपने ध्यान से सुना, उन्होंने हमें बोला कि हम लेफ्ट डोर पे जाएं, कि वो एंटर हुआ लेफ्ट डोर पे, पर यहाँ पे राइट का भी ऑप्शन है। मन तो कर रहा है राइट जाने का, क्या करें? अक्कड़ बक्कड़ बम्बे, वो मेरा दिमाग खराब हो रहा है यार लिटरली। स्टोरी बदल जाएगी। सो यू नो व्हाट, अभी स्टार्ट हुआ तो लेफ्ट में ही चलते हैं जैसा बताया गया है। ओके ठीक है, ओके। यहाँ पे भी कोई नहीं है। यार ये गेम डरावनी तो नहीं है? मुझे डरावनी गेमें पसंद नहीं है।
Yet there was not a single person here either.
ठीक है,
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
बॉस के ऑफिस जाना है। डिस्प्यूट ऑफ अ कोवर्कर। अरे यार छोड़ो यार। रूम।
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
देखा, नीचे का भी ऑप्शन है और नीचे लाल हो रखा है। हमें ऊपर जाने को बोला है, तो हम नीचे आएंगे इस बार। देखते हैं क्या होता है। अरे यार लाल लाइट, ये क्या गिरा हुआ? नीचे चल के देखते हैं क्या हो रहा है।
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He
नहीं किया।
considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had
रिस्क लेना पसंद है
his boss
भाई,
would think he was crazy.
ले लिया।
And then something occurred.
फॉलो
to
थोड़ी
Stanley.
करते रहेंगे, तुम क्या
Maybe,
जो भी
he
बोल
thought
रहे
to
हो।
himself, maybe I am crazy.
अच्छा
All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no
यार
reason
एक तो
at all.
चच्चा बोल बहुत रहा है
It
यार।
made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
सही बात है,
And
और
for
ये
that
रास्ता भी
matter,
रिपीट हो रहा है।
These rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley
सही
said
बात
to
है।
himself, this is all too
यार फिर वही
strange. This
मशीन आ
can't
गई।
be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream.
सपना ही लग रहा है भाई। यार भैंचो क्या गेम है ये?
To have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself,
अरे
suppose I'll wake up
बस
soon.
करो यार।
I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently
अच्छा
float
बैठता
above
भी
the
है।
ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
अरे बकचोद भाई, क्या हो रहा है ये? दरवाजे बंद हो जा रहे हैं। अरे चच्चा बोली आ रहा है। आई होप तुम सारे स्टोरी फॉलो कर रहे हो। आई मीन वो बता रहा है कि हो क्या रहा है। समवन इज नरेटिंग द स्टोरी। क्यों हो रहा है ये?
believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself. Stanley is as awake
अरे यार
as he's ever
बकचोद
been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it.
B4
He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of
भाई
the world
बकचोद
outside
story
this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been.
ठीक है
My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will
तो
be
दिखा
fine.
रहे हैं कि वो कैसे कंट्रोल कर रहा है ड्रीम को उसको लग रहा है ये ड्रीम है और वो कंट्रोल कर रहा है उसको तो जो बोल रहा है वही होगा आई गेस बट ऐसा कुछ नहीं हुआ देख लो चच्चा फंस गए
Stanley
कॉफी
began
नट
screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My
अरे
name is
वांचो
Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything
Fuck.
went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on
ये
this
लड़की की
particular
कहानी है
day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy.
अरे चच्चा मर गया ये चच्चे की बात हो रही
Everyone
है
knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there.
अब चाची 420 की स्टोरी शुरू हो रही है
And then
वो
she
मर गया आई गेस दिखा रहे हैं कि वो मर गया है जो बंदे के साथ हम खेल रहे थे वो मर चुका है अभी चाची 420 की स्टोरी शुरू इनके भी पैर नहीं है या फिर हम वापस आ गए
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting
अरे
room.
भाई मत
Perhaps
करो
he'd
ऐसे
seen Mr.
मेरा
Memo.
दिमाग घूम रहा है यार ओ माय गॉड
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door
सर
on his
स्टैनली
left.
वापस आ गया पिछली बार हमने लेफ्ट लिया था हम नहीं लेंगे हम राइट लेंगे
This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
हाँ नहीं
and
है तो
Stanley
क्या हो
knew
गया
it perfectly
पिछली
well.
बार लिया था हम कहाँ
Perhaps
फंस
he
गए
wanted
थे
to stop by the employee lounge first.
पागल
just
बना
to
रहे हो
admire
एम्प्लॉय
it.
लॉन्च चलो यार क्या है एम्प्लॉय लॉन्च
Yes, truly
Eager.
a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments
बैठने से
here in
कुछ
this
हो तो रहा नहीं
immaculate,
है
beautifully constructed room. Stanley
Fuel.
simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
नहीं लेना हमने ले ले नहीं लेना
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing
जो भी
your
ये
trust in
भगचोद हमें
someone
बता
else
रहा है ना ये
is
सब कुछ
difficult.
करने को
But the fact is that
वो
the
सबसे
story
बड़ा
has been about nothing
चू
but
है
you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. please.
भाई
Stop
तुम
trying to make
यार
every decision by
मत्था घूम रहे है तो मेरा
yourself. I'm not asking for me. I'm asking
तो ये
for
बोल भी
her.
बहुत
This
रहा
is
है
Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself.
ठीक है
To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her.
फोन फोन से
Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting.
आ गया मैं आ गया
All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually
भाई
think you
क्या
had a
बकचोदी
loving
है
wife who'd want to commit their life to you?
कपड़े तो
I'm
पहना
trying to
दो
make a
इसको
point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
कहाँ गई चाची
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
गुड मॉर्निंग प्रेस ट्रायंगल
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work.
अरे
One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown. Fantastic discoveries.
यार मैंने $37 इसके लिए दिए हैं हो क्या रहा है ये
And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
टीवी देखते हैं चलो
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth.
अच्छा इससे सोचा था इसलिए ये हुआ
Excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
prepare dinner
As he wandered through this fantasy world,
अरे
he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanleyparable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it.
अरे यार तुम
again
बकचोद क्यों
and
कर रहे हो
again and
क्या करना है इस
again,
आंटी का
over and over,
वो
wishing
आंटी
beyond hope that it would never end.
करती है क्या
He might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path. Mustn't there be?
मुझे रास्ता
Perhaps he
दिखाओ
played
मुझे बाहर
just
निकालो
one more
मुझे
time.
भाई एंजाइटी हो रही है
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing
भाई
has
सरकारी
changed.
नौकरी है कि
The
तो काम
longer
होता
he
है
spends here, the more
करते कुछ है नहीं बस
invested he
बटन दबाते
gets,
रहेंगे
the
दिखाएंगे
more
काम
he
बहुत कर रहे
forgets which life is the real one.
हैं ओके समझ गया
And I'm
सोने
trying
के
to
लिए ये
tell
बटन
him
दबाना
that
है
in this world
जागने
he
के
can
लिए ये
never
बटन
be
दबाना है
anything
हगना है तो
but
ये
an
बटन दबाना है अभी
observer.
हगने
And
वाला
as
बटन
long
भी
as he
आएगा
remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen
Yes,
to me.
it is killing
He won't
me.
stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
द नेक्स्ट अच्छा उन्होंने बताया कि हम बटन दबाएं बटन मत दबाना नहीं दबाऊंगा फिर मैं वेट करते हैं लेट्स सी क्या होता है जितना मुझे लगता है हमें बटन नहीं दबाना चाहिए यही बोला गया है कि मत दबाना राइट नहीं दबाएंगे लेट्स वेट ना बंदे के पैर हैं ना बंदे की शक्ल है। टाइम चल तो रहा यार, टाइम तो सही चल रहा। यार दबाऊं कि ना दबाऊं बटन?
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
यार इतनी तो वेट की थी मैंने।
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again. And
Please
Stanley
die.
pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
मैंने तो कुछ दबाया भी नहीं। दोबारा शुरू हो गई स्टोरी? नो वे।
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
अरे
Stanley decided to go to the
मुझे
meeting
कुछ
room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley
Oh
looked,
my
he
fucking
couldn't find
god.
a trace of his
Starting
co-workers.
again. भागो यार।
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
He entered the door on his left. हाँ लेफ्ट में चलेगा। ठीक है। तुम भाई पागल बना रहे हो और कुछ नहीं बना
Yet
रहे।
there was not a single person here either.
I know
Feeling
नहीं
a
है।
wave of
आ
disbelief,
चुका हूँ मैं यहाँ पे,
Stanley
तीसरी बार आ
decided
रहा
to
हूँ
go
मैं।
up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley
हाँ ठीक
walked
है, ऊपर जा रहा
upstairs to his
हूँ, बॉस के
boss's
पास जा रहा हूँ।
office.
ठीक है, बकचोदी मत करना मेरे साथ। हाँ बॉस, बॉस कहाँ है?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once
मैनेजर
again
का ऑफिस तो बड़ा
stunned to
अच्छा है।
discover not an indication
इतना बड़ा
of
ऑफिस
any
किसका
human
होता है?
life.
मैनेजर का?
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this.
कौन सी
What
दारू है?
dark secret was being
क्रांति
held from him? What he could
आए।
not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the
keypad.
terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845.
845
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2845।
Yet incredibly,
Oh,
by
yeah?
simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct
रैंडम
code.
थोड़ी है बकचोद, तूने तो बताया मुझे।
Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened
अच्छा ठीक है, नया डोर
passageway.
खुल गया। भाई डर लग रहा अब डर लग रहा है। ऊपर दबा सकता हूँ मैं? अच्छा जाएगी नीचे ही हो, ठीक है ठीक है।
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
भाई इसको
Stanley
यहाँ
walked
पे
straight
क्यों भेज
ahead
दिया?
through the
माइंड
large
कंट्रोल
door that
फैसिलिटी,
read
एस्केप।
Mind Control Facility.
एस्केप का रास्ता ये रहा, माइंड कंट्रोल ये रहा। एस्केप कर ले क्या भाई? ये एस्केप वाले रास्ते ना मुझे सही नहीं लग रहे, सही बताओ। काश मैं लाइव होता, मैं तुमसे पूछता लाइक मैं क्या करूं। माइंड मे बी नेक्स्ट टाइम, यू नो, लेट मी नो अगर आपको अच्छा लग रहा है जो भी कंसेप्ट है इस गेम का, तो हम कर सकते हैं कोशिश। ओके गाइस, थैंक यू सो मच। मैं तहे दिल से आपका शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहता हूँ जो इस वीडियो के एंड तक पहुँचे। यू गाइज आर द रियल MVP। तुम्हारी वजह से ही यूट्यूब चैनल चलेगा अगर चलेगा। थैंक यू सो मच। अगला पार्ट मैं not release, like I'll post the next part for this game when I'll get reviews for this video is like how it is, कैसा लगा आपको और आप जानना चाहते हो कि आगे हो क्या रहा है। तो तब तक के लिए थैंक यू सो मच। Do like the video, subscribe the channel if you like my video, and definitely if you didn't enjoy and I wasted your time तो आप comment करो, dislike करो वीडियो और मुझे बताओ कि मैं कहाँ improve कर सकता हूँ। Thank you so much. Peace out.